Now, people often hear me talk about a quality team, which sets me apart, and is one of the differences in my product and my positioning in the marketplace over others. And what I've learned is, you know, just with me, I have limited time, resources, and talent, just like anybody else. Meaning, time, I only have the same 24 hours in a day as everybody else has. Talent, as much as I want to believe that, I'm very talented in a lot of things and can do a lot of things, once again, at some point, I'm going to reach a level as I push myself where I'm superseding my talent in my ambition. And then resources, the same thing. At some point, I'm going to be superseding my resources with my ambition, whether that's knowledge and or capital. So what having a team allows you to do is leverage the time, talent, and resources of other people to help you reach your end goal. So if you have a team, now you have more than one person, just you, working on a problem or working on to solve a specific thing or to complete a specific task within those 24 hours. You have more people where you can leverage their talents. You have more people where you can leverage resources. So four quick things or ways that I see in this industry that a lot of people really go at it alone is number one, they try to be, or their main and driving purpose for being a realtor is so that they can save money and make money on deals. Number two, they want to be their own property manager. Once again, they do this so that they can save money and not have to pay anybody. Number three, they want to be their own general contractor. They do this so that they can try to save money, get labor, and possibly even material at as cheap as cost possible. And number four, they don't bring in partners to help invest. Now, I'll say there's nothing wrong with anybody that wants to do any one of those four, or if they want to do all four of those. Just me and my experience, I'll just speak to how I've realized how leveraging other people can help me get further. So to start off with, as far as people whose primary focus for being a realtor is so that they can save on that 3% commission when they sell a property, or make that extra 3% commission when they buy a property. In my experience, these people, because their main purpose for doing it is more or less of a selfish reason, because they want to be the ones saving on their projects, or they want to be the ones making on their projects, quite often they're not really actually doing and putting forth the same effort as a regular realtor would do. So you have a regular realtor. Let's say the difference between somebody that acts as their own realtor and somebody that has their own realtor. So let's say I have my own realtor, and I look at a property, and let's say I buy a property. So when I buy it, nothing necessarily comes out of my pocket to pay the realtor, but then again, nothing goes into my pocket either as money I've made on the deal. Some people even look at it as, if you use a realtor, or they want to be a realtor, so at least they have the option of even potentially waiving that 3% commission in hopes of getting a better deal on the purchase price. People look at it multiple ways, but let's say I have a realtor, I buy a property, nothing gets put in my pocket. When I sell a property, money definitely comes out of my pocket. However, this is where I know that having quality people in as your realtor, or having quality people in around you, definitely pays off, because with your realtor, you're paying them for their time, their talent, and their resources. So you're looking for realtors who are immersed in the game, that are actively networking, that are actively listing properties, that are actively selling properties, that are actively showing properties. And what this does is it's building their network, it's building their knowledge, it's building their influence within the industry. And what that's doing is now they are committed to their craft. So if you team up with them, if you're using them as your realtor, you now have access to all of their knowledge, all of their network, and and they may know certain things about certain areas, about certain neighborhoods, or they may find out that they may have pocket listings, or know another realtor that's going to have a pocket listing coming up, all because they're the ones that are actively going out, putting in that work to find out this information, because they're mastering their craft, and in mastering your craft, this is what comes with it. So yes, when I sell a property, that's definitely commission that pays out of my pocket. But the way I look at it is my realtor has to be able to return to me more than what I'm paying him for me to say, hey, you know what? It's worth it for me to go and use you continuously. Even if my specific realtor, let's say, if he wasn't doing that, then I'd have to go and find another realtor. But I know that I wouldn't necessarily try to take that on myself, because me being a developer, I'm not going to be out there trying to make those same connections that a realtor is out there trying to make. As opposed to if you're a developer, but then you're also want to get your realtor license so that you can save and make that money, your primary focus isn't on your realtor aspect. So therefore, you're not going to have that same impact that somebody who is mastering their craft in that domain is going to have. So that's why I believe in working with those quality professionals, those quality individuals, to be able to get those connections, to be able to tap into and leverage their network, their time, their talents. So realtors, they also market for sellers. So once again, you're just plugging yourself right into a machine that's already going, and you're leveraging their time, their talents, their resources. Because if you're an active buyer and you're working with that realtor, why wouldn't they say, hey, listen, I just met with this owner, they're looking to sell, are you interested? Before they even list it. So that's having a pipeline that you wouldn't have if you're just working on your own behalf as you're trying to be a realtor, but you're not actually out there also looking for the buyers and the sellers and everything that comes with mastering the craft of being a realtor. And the next one is property managers. So people, depending on the scale of your operation, people, starting off, they want to be their own property manager to save money. Typically, as people start off with smaller units, they're paying somewhere between 8 to 10% of the collective rents. And then also typically there's a leasing fee of 1 month rent, or maybe half a month's rent if the unit is empty and the property manager leases it. So now this is something where, once again, a lot of people do it out of necessity because they haven't worked their numbers to be able to work in paying for a property manager. So if you have to do it out of necessity, I understand, but I'd just say at the first chance you get, try to hire that property manager. And then also, as you grow in units and you really start to have a lot of units under your belt, it may make sense for you to bring property management in-house and hire and build your own actual property management company. But I'm more so focused before you get to that point, and as you're trying to grow to get to that point. So as a property manager, once again, you're out constantly networking. You're out not only necessarily to meet so as they're networking, they're meeting other investors, and then they're actively looking for renters, and then they're actively looking for also construction professionals or contractors to be able to utilize on their properties when the time comes for maintenance tickets and maintenance repairs that are needed. So now, if you're your own property manager, are you really out there networking with other investors, actively trying to get their properties to manage as well? Not really. So what happens is, as you're working with a quality property manager who also has other units under their belt, what happens over time, they'll have other investors that want to sell properties or may potentially want to buy properties. So therefore, once again, they're plugged into that network, so they know before it even hits the market. So you may get a phone call. Hey, I have one of my clients. He's thinking about selling X amount of units at this price. Would you be interested? I've owned these, or I've managed these properties personally for the past X number of years. I know that the building is really problem free. He's kept up, the property manager has kept, I'm sorry, the owner has made sure that the repairs were kept up. I've made sure the repairs were kept up as well. So therefore, there's really no deferred maintenance. You'd be stepping into a true turnkey building where you could expect your cash flow to be this month on month. And you have that rapport with him because he's also managing your properties. So the numbers that they give you are the actual true numbers, as opposed to you going out just on the regular market trying to find more units to pick up, and you're guessing on some of the units based on, or on some of the numbers based on what your previous experience is in the market. And so then also, they're out there looking for contracting professionals. So one of the things that I've realized is people that build properties, way different than people who maintenance properties. So I like to have those two teams different as much as possible. Sometimes if I'm in a pinch, I'll overlap. So I'll have my property manager reach out to maybe one of my guys that I'm using to build something. But just the mentality of the people, what I've realized, are totally different. So in this, your property manager is looking for good people who are maintenance men who can go and really help maintain the property. Who are good with dealing with tenants, dealing with those situations that they can sometimes get into when you're working on a building that has existing tenants in it. So once again, if you're not really a property manager and you're not really focused on that lane and really working to perfect that craft, then what happens is you're not making those connections. So me having a property manager, I'm able to tap into their network, their time, their talents, and their resources, and utilize that to really further my business as well, because they have set systems in place, and I'm just tapping right into that. They have an existing network in place, I'm tapping right into that. They have an existing marketing strategy in place, I'm tapping right into that. So that's how I use, I don't mind paying for a property manager, and I always factor in property management as I'm buying units. And now the third is being a general contractor. Now, especially as if you're developing, so if you're doing rehabs, ground ups, new developments, your contracting team is really your bread and butter, and they can either make or break you. So I definitely understand why people like to pull it in and be their own GC. And I have nothing against that at all, because I actually act as my own GC as well. However, when you're working with quality professionals or quality construction professionals, it's okay to be a GC, but you just have to know what kind of GC you're going to be. So, some may say, hey, listen, find a good GC, let them run your projects, and that's totally fine. The way that I actually set up my system is that I'm working with quality tradesmen, and all I'm doing is just really giving them a call, scheduling things, which even now I'm trying to pass off and hire an assistant to be able to take that and run that day-to-day as it needs to be done. But in working with quality tradesmen, what I do, I look for people that have an existing team. So sometimes I may use somebody, if it's just them, another person, if they run more of a mom and pop type operation, that's fine, nothing against that. I typically just like to know how much they can handle, what's their volume capacity, just so that I know that I'm not going to overload them, because most people who run those mom and pop type operations, they're not really looking to grow really large. So I like to work with people who are looking to expand, who are like-minded and looking to really grow. So that way, if I tell them, hey, listen, I'm really expanding, I want to use you, would you mind growing your company, or being able to have, that the burstability capacity to really handle the work that I want to give you, now it's not my job to go out and find other people, other contractors, other laborers, other, carpenters or whoever else to help get to that number that I need to be able to get my projects done. I'm working with a quality professional who is going to say, okay, you want to do this? They'll know this is how many people they want to get if they want to be able to fulfill the order, to fulfill all the work. And if they fall short, then I know, okay, well, I'll have to go out and find another quality professional to then give all the overflow to. But that's how I'd work, or I work in the capacity of being a GC. Nothing wrong with hiring a GC. As long as, once again, all your numbers work out, and then you can, and then that's all on them, and you're now also more removed, and frees you up to do other things. But people who, when I say they want to be their own GC, they want to go out and actually hire the guys, pay them, either hourly rate, day rate, and they want to manage that because they want to make sure that they can get their projects done as cheap as possible. So what I tell people all the time is, with cheap labor comes cheap labor headaches. So doing that, you just have to know, is your intention to really grow a construction company, or is it to grow a development business? Because those are two different things. If you want to grow a construction company, then it makes more sense to have your hands in it down to that level where you're hiring and firing, your actual day laborers, your tradesmen, and not just working with, somebody at the top who then has all those people underneath them. But once again, those are two different type of people. So as I'm working with, that company owner for the specific trade, I'm working with them, they're working with me, and because they're mastering their craft and they also are trying to grow their business, they're out there actively doing things to grow their business. As opposed to if I'm the one that's just trying to hire guys to get projects done for as cheap as possible, and my intention isn't to really be a contractor, then I'm not really out there making those networking and making those connections that somebody who takes this as a profession and takes it seriously is doing. So by me working with those people who are, who are the business owners and who are mastering their craft, taking it seriously, and are out there, once again, marketing, making themselves known, and then also trying to get to that next level, I'm tapping into their network. So, even though, let's say I may hire, let's say a plumber, and let's say my electrician, let's say if he goes MIA, then I can ask my plumber, hey, do you have any good recommendations for electricians? And 9 times out of 10, because he's out there and he's actively working with other people as well, he'll know, okay, well, you know what? I do have, I have somebody I can recommend, and he'll recommend the company. And because he's worked with this company on other jobs, 9 times out of 10, that will be a reliable recommendation. So it's just all about learning to leverage people to be able to leverage their time, talents, and resources in helping push forth your vision. The last thing I'll touch on is also partners. So some people, they want to be self-made. They want to have all the control of the money. They want to not have to split money with anybody, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let anybody tell you one way or another. Just what I've learned in my experience is there will reach a certain point, depending on the level that you're trying to grow and how fast you're trying to grow, where it's good to then leverage other people's time, talents, and resources to help get to that next level. So if you're partnering with somebody, let's say whether it's a money partner, or they're more of the construction side partner, let's say if I wanted to do a brand new development, let's say 3 buildings, 300 units, total development. That's right now currently beyond anything that I've done. So I may bring in a construction partner, I may bring in a money partner, and form a team. So it's about recognizing where your strengths and weaknesses lie, and be able to bring partners into your deals, strategic partners that are quality partners, to be able to bring them into your deals to make sure that you'll succeed once you reach that next level. And if in return you have to give up a little bit of profit, that's okay, because once again, you've reached that next level, and now you're operating in that next level. So now when something else, another deal comes along at that next level, you'll have that knowledge. You'll have the knowledge. You may have the talent. You may have the resources. You may have the time to now do that all by yourself if you want to really do it by yourself. Or once again, use those same partners to then just really grow bigger at that level, and really capitalize on the opportunity there. So when I say that one of the things that set me apart are using quality people, this is what I'm referring to. I'm referring to using quality people not only to get the work done, but ensuring that I'm building a team where I can leverage quality people's time, talent, and resources to help me get to the next level. And in it, once again, they're also using me because I'm a developer and because I'm mastering my craft. I'm doing the things that I need to do. I'm taking the actions I need to do to master my craft. So one hand washes the other. So I'm relying on them, they're relying on me, and that cycle just continues, and we just continue to go round and round to successfully complete projects, and to successfully change neighborhoods, and to successfully continue to move on to the next level. Thanks for listening. If you found value in anything that I said, please like, share, comment. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and I can clarify anything that you may want. Thanks a lot.